Okay. Hi, this is Logan. I'm just going over and showing you my process of how I designed my app. Um, First off, I'll just start off with the very beginning. So in the beginning, every time I design anything, I always do a mind map or a word list. This time I chose to do a mind map because it felt like it fit a little bit better. Um, was just only having two different things to go over, like professions and activities. With this step, I usually just try and write down everything that comes to mind, because mostly when I do that, it gets rid of the kind of the common and less, I don't know, less applicable ideas first, and then it gives me some really interesting ones. As you can see, I have some of the interesting ideas that I found marked here in red. Um, but once I started doing that, once I had kind of an idea, I decided to go, of course, with the video game or electricity usage calculator idea, to try to refine it a little bit more. Um, and as I was coming through that, I thought it'd be more applicable to maybe simplify it. So that's when I started simplifying it to this console usage app, and eventually narrowing it down to the console cleaning app that I have. So here, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of the feedback that I got was that of confusion, not knowing where to go. And from that, it kind of made me realize I need to simplify things down a lot. So as you can see here in step 2, I tried to keep it very, very simple. And looking at some of the users here, you can see that they liked it a lot better. And it was really simple, and even some of them made suggestions. So as I went along, I kept on with that idea. Here you can see I had a kind of a different variant, just trying out different ideas I had, just trying to get ideas out there, which eventually led me to this first concept that I came up with. This is the one that, out of the next 3 usage tests that I did, was the most applicable. People understood this one the easiest, and so I chose this one to kind of refine a little bit more. A lot of people like the big, obvious buttons, the easy selections here. The only confusion that came from it is just because it's paper model. So after that, I decided to refine it even more into the digital format that you see here, especially with this main opening interface right here. I still got a little bit of feedback saying that this section right here just felt like there's too much to start out with, and so I kept on refining it even more and more. Really, the usability testing showed me what things I needed and I didn't the most. And then looking back at my research too, that was basically the 2 things that really shaped the next step. So once I got down to writing down a list of everything that people said needed to change, I came to this final iteration. I tried to keep the beginning right here very clear and very quick. I realized that a lot of my design up to this point was kind of adding extra fluff that I didn't really need it. That I didn't really need. And so from here, I decided to make it a little bit more interesting, adding kind of separated buttons, not just a list, but kind of something tangible that you could actually click on. And adding in all these different variations of models and stuff, just adding a little bit more dynamic to it, making it a little bit more flowing. And of course, I only showed the outcome of one here, as well as in the final app, due to just running out of time to make the whole thing. But from this, a lot of the people who gave me feedback said they could really tell where it was going, and didn't really get any bad feedback, other than with this section right here. People are getting confused on selecting or creating a new timer due to just because the way it's laid out. So in the final one I kind of refined everything a little bit more. I chose a color palette that mostly kind of contrasted and really stood out, making sure that the values weren't blending together. And it turned out really good. A lot of the people I had test this last final version really wanted to see it become a real app, which was kind of cool to hear, as well as just really, I don't know, just feeling really accomplished. I feel like the style all came really good together. The buttons are really tangible, really working. The only thing I didn't like, I think this is just a program issue, is that this carrier bar doesn't stay. But everything else works really good. The final design I feel like came together really well. Of course, it came without lots of change, lots of feedback. So that's how my app turned out. And that's kind of my design process, is just starting off with that mind map, moving to sketches, getting a lot of people's opinions, and then just putting it all together. So thank you for watching this.